and welcome to another episode of Health Matters on Channels Television. We're glad you could join us. I am Mary Alale Yusuf. Vocalization is sound made by people and other vertebrates using the lungs and vocal cords, also called vocal folds. Vocal cords are located in the larynx, which is also in the throat. Voice can be expressed in speech, laughter, singing, or just baby talk. Of course, if there's a problem with the vocal cords and or the lungs, there could be a problem with producing sound. Some voice problems include hoarseness, strain, pain, dryness, so many other things. My guest on the show today is Dr. Olufemi Olude. Dr. Olude is a consultant otolaryngologist. That's fancy talk for ear, nose, and throat surgeon, and the head of department of the Ear, Nose, and Throat Clinic at General Hospital, Lagos Island. He is also a member of several associations in Nigeria and abroad. You're welcome to the show.
You're welcome.
Let's start with, some obvious things, like what could be the problem with somebody's voice?
No, our voice is our representative. You can know somebody by his voice, and you can identify somebody with what he says. The voice is our ambassador. So we express ourselves with our voice. And when there is problem with our voice, it affects our personalities. That's why we have to be taking care of our voice, because in this world of communication, we have to be, every time we are expressing our feeling, we are expressing our thought, and we have to continue communicating. That's why voice is as an essential product that God has given human being, and we have to take care of it.
Let's start with, maybe the Harmattan season. I noticed that some people actually lose their voice. Some, it becomes really hoarse, hard. What's responsible for that? What are the interactions that come in?
We know generally during the Harmattan season, the environment is harsh and it's dry. And that means that when it's dry, we have to take a lot of water to avoid dehydration. And the vocal cords and vocal folds, the way they walk, they vibrate. And then they need the liquid environment, the water, the mucus, for them to vibrate easily. It is just like an engine, like a car that is using an engine oil. The engine oil has to be soft and brittle so that for the vocal cord to be able to vibrate. But when the environment is dry, a lot of fluid is dry up in our body, and it makes the vocal cord, the vibration, to be harsh, to be hard, and then they affect each other, and that's what causes dryness of the throat, and then it can lead to a problem that we call voice hoarseness, that when you wake up in the morning, you have to be clearing your throat to everything, which indirectly can affect the vibration of the vocal folds.
Does this hoarseness, can it result in injury to the vocal folds?
It can result in injury because every skin, because by that time it makes the two vocal folds to meet each other, and then there will be a form of a pressure, a form of a trauma, and then it releases what we call bumps or calluses. It's just like a scar, and if it's not properly taken, it can stay. There are a lot of things, environment factor, that can aggravate it to become something that is unpalatable.
Can ordinary speaking, just talking, can it lead to voice problems? Or does it have to be something really harsh that you do with your voice?
No, the voice, the vocal fold, within a second, it vibrates up to 100 to 200 times within a second. And
is that during rest or when it's being used?
And when it's being used, you can know this is normal something. In the second, it vibrates 100 to 200. And then it's being used, then it's a form of it is over. And then this problem also can lead to injury. And when the vocal fold is weak, we have what we call this voice hoarseness.
Okay, let's look at the image that we're seeing. Can you see that image?
Okay.
One side is of a normal throat, I suppose. Let me call it a throat.
A throat.
And the other side is like it's inflamed. What are those white spots?
Those are the tonsils. Okay. Those are the the police organ, that this one, the one they fight against the infection. They are part of the immune system of the body, and any form of bacteria, any form of dust that enters the oral cavity, the tonsils are the first target organ that they will respond to it.
Did you say dust?
Dust, allergy, any irritant.
Okay. So during Harmattan, that could be a problem.
It's a real problem. Because once, if you just look at our furniture during Harmattan, you see a lot of deposits of dust. And those are the things that we inhale through our mouth and through the nose.
What's the solution to that? Because the dust we can do nothing about.
We can do nothing about. But in the house, what we can do, we can make the house to be moist. When it's moist, some of this dust, they won't be able to be spreading through the air. The water, the moisty environment is going to grab a little bit of them, and then we drink a lot of water.
Okay, now you have mentioned water, but a lot of people mention honey. Is this a myth, or is honey better for lubricating the vocal folds?
Nothing is better than the water. Honey is just, people take honey because when we have something like a virus infection or something, then you can take it. But the best form of humidifier, or the best form of something that can solve the problem is water. More water. That's why I see a lot of people carrying bottles of water along, which is a good development.
Okay, I hear that there's actually a way to cough that could preserve the vocal folds. Is that true? And if it is, you can describe it for us.
Well, there's a way to cough, but when we know what causes the cough, there can be a lot of irritant in the throat. When you wake up in the morning, maybe we have sinus problem that you have to be clearing the throat. And by the time when you are clearing the throat and you are coughing, you are causing more harm or injury.
Okay, clearing the throat causes harm and injury to the throat.
Harm and injury to the vocal fold.
To the vocal folds.
Which in turn can affect the voice and make the voice to be ours.
But what does one do when it feels as if the throat is blocked with mucus or something?
When you feel that the throat is blocked, it's just once of all to take a form of a deep breath down and try to take some water and try and swallow it.
And if that doesn't work?
And if it doesn't work, what you still do, you take some, what we advise people to do, that you breathe down, take a deep breath and swallow it. And if it doesn't work, you still take some water and you get an improvement.
All these problems we've mentioned so far, the hoarseness, dryness, could they be just, how do we put it, physiological problems, or are they disease problems caused by some sort of bacterium or something like that?
Oh, it's a form of environmental problem, because all of us, we live in the environment, and then we have some environment that is harsh,
Okay.
that contains a lot of allergy, a lot of irritant, that in an environment that we cannot, that is happening in our own environment. And that's why we have all these things that's why you see some people, you see them moving around, they always cover their face, they cover their nose.
Especially these days, people are doing that.
More in the north, that they put on a mask, is just to reduce the form of contact. Because when you open your nose, you open your mouth, you cannot guarantee, or you cannot limit yourself to inhaling all this dust.
But covering the nose and the mouth with those things, does it help?
It's just to limit the contact. But the thing is still in the environment. It helps occasionally. It helps to some extent.
So that means that these problems of hoarseness are not necessarily disease problems, but they could be.
It's not a disease problem. It causes more with environment, and also when we don't know the proper way of clearing the throat, or misuse of the voice or overuse of the voice.
What's misuse of the voice?
Misuse of the voice, it means that when we shout a lot, when we do something that can cause injury to the vocal cord. That can be that when we shout, when we yell, when we cough, when we overstretch our voice in a noisy environment.
But how about singing? People sing, they stretch the voice. Is that misuse?
Then singing also, you have to know what is called, there should be a form of a warm-up.
Okay.
And you see the athletes and the footballer, they warm up. And before you sing, you have to do a form of a voice warm-up. And then you have to know your limit, your vocal pitch.
Okay.
So that you will not be abused. And then also, you have to know when you want to sing, you have to know that your throat is healthy. If you have a form of upper respiratory tract infection, catarrh, or something, during that period, you cannot sing very well. So those are the things we just have to observe.
Okay, you said someone has to know their pitch. That's how high they can go, how low they can go. But are there not exercises to actually stretch that pitch? Make you go higher than you could before and lower than you could before?
There are exercises like that, but it has to be under supervision of those who are specialized in that area. We have this speech pathology, those who also they are song, and those are the song teachers, the trainers, and that's why we see in churches we have the choir master, the song master. So we have to. It's not everybody can just sing. Maybe alto, tenor, or bass. You have to know your pitch, and you you try to sing according to your level.
To the level of the voice. We're going to go on a break now, but when we come back, I'm going to ask you to take us through some of those exercises, those warm-up exercises you spoke of, so that we can understand what it's like. Stay with us. We'll be back in a minute, but we're going on a short break.